This next Conservative debate coming up tonight, as we're saying, in the provincial capital of Alberta. There are 14 candidates in this race. Kevin O'Leary, one of the most high profile, will not be a part of this debate in Edmonton. Let's go to him. He's standing by right now. And we're happy to get you on the show, Kevin. Thanks for this, making time for us here.
Thank you. Great to be here. Thanks.
So you just heard Don Martin in Ottawa saying that the reason you're not going to be part of this debate is because of the bilingual elements. It's going to leave you, as he said, gulping like a goldfish out of water.
No, that's not the case at all. The story on this debate is it's the format that allows each candidate 10 seconds of sound bites, and they scream out their website address because they have no chance to debate anything, get any ideas out, or do anything. I've done 2 of these. They're completely useless, a complete waste of time for the membership. We're not respecting the membership at all. They get nothing from it. That's the problem. Now, what happened when Preston Manning looked at this and he saw the disaster that occurred in Halifax and then the boring thing we put together in Montreal, he said, we're not going to do that at the Manning Conference. We're going to draw straws and put 3 to 4 candidates against each other and have substantive discussions, including a 3-minute wrap-up where each candidate gave their vision to the membership. That made sense to me, and it was a really big success in Ottawa on Friday. So what I suggested to the party was, why don't let my team, you got to be a leader sometimes. When you see something's not functional and it's not working, you have to take charge, which is what I did. And I said, let's go here, call up all the other candidates' managers, and see if we can get consensus so the party goes to the Manning format here in Edmonton. And to the extent we got every one of them except one. And the party said, well, you have to get everybody, so we got to stay with our idea of getting these 10-second sound bites. So I said, I'm not doing that. The thing is, when you're a leader, you got to make tough decisions. And certainly, I would have hoped they'd made this decision for the benefit of the members. But I'm going to be in the debate. What I'm doing is I've just moved it over a few feet, and I'm holding my own event moderated by Tim Uppal, who's going to be great. And we're going to take questions from the members and from the press at exactly the same time and have a substantive dialogue, which is what we should be doing in the first place. And my gift to the other candidates, and I think they're going to thank me for this, is by taking myself out of it, each one of them is going to get an extra 4.6 seconds to talk because you're only allowed a minute, and then there's 13 left. You divide a minute by 13. So Lisa Raitt, she gets an extra 4.6 seconds. She can thank me later for that.
By skipping the debate tonight, are you at all worried, Kevin, that some party members will think that you're not respecting the process?
Not at all. I'm respecting the membership. Remember, my job is to sell memberships and get a majority of them to vote for me as leader of the party. The only way I can do that is to communicate my ideas and my vision for the country and for the party. I cannot do that in 10-second sound bites. The reason the other candidates can't get any message out there is they're forced into this archaic format that doesn't work. The truth about this is the party never thought there'd still be 14 members this late in the race. It's unprecedented in Conservative history to have this many. And the truth is, if there's still 14 on May 27th, the ballot card only allows for 10. That's how much they weren't planning for this. So, the definition of insanity is to keep doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different outcome. We're just doing a great disservice to the membership here. They can't hear any ideas. I want the candidates to debate. I want to hear their good ideas. I've told them all already. I do not have a monopoly on good ideas. If I hear a good idea, I'll take it to Ottawa. But so far, I haven't heard anything about anything except sound bites where each candidate yells out, go to my website and read my policies. What is that? We're not doing anybody a service. The 14-person debate doesn't work.
Let me ask you about campaign expense rules, if we can dig a bit deeper into that. You've told the Globe and Mail you're flying in private jets, but only expensing the cost of a standard airline ticket. Elections Canada rules say a campaign expense has to be paid by the campaign. Are you personally covering these campaign expenses?
No, the rules are very specific, and believe me, we all get audited. I make use of private planes all the time in business because I need to be sometimes 5 cities in one day. That's exactly what's going on in this campaign. I'm jumping all over the place, and occasionally I do use a private plane, but we are going by the rules. The challenge that every candidate has is twofold: sell memberships and raise money. I would have funded this whole campaign myself if I'd been allowed to. I'm only allowed to put $25,000 into the campaign, which I did. All the rest I'm raising $1,550 at a time. That means I have to sign up 13,000 people to do that. That takes a fair amount of work. These rules are onerous, and every single candidate abides by them, and they're audited every month as well. So I have an agent auditing me. I'm playing by the rules, obviously, but I wish I didn't have to burden Canadians with this. I would have paid for the whole thing myself, but I cannot do that.
I want to ask you as well about political fundraisers. You've said you won't attend any for less than $50,000 in contributions. You've also said you can't be bought. And you know the Conservatives have hammered the Liberals now, Kevin, for a long time on cash for access fundraisers and for being out of touch elitists. Do you think Conservative members will react, will be okay, will be on board to this notion of you not going to a fundraiser unless you can get $50,000 out of it?
That's the goal, because I can only do so many. So we put that as a self-hurdle ourselves. We try and find enough people to make a $50,000 worth it, because we only have a matter of weeks to do this. Luckily, I've been very lucky. My goals have been much better than that. Many of them go over $100,000. So I'm able to attract people. Probably social media has helped me quite a bit. But as far as Conservatives hammering Liberals, you ain't seen nothing yet. I can't wait to dig into this Trudeau Foundation. I didn't even know that I personally funded it. It's all news to me. And by the way, I can read an income statement and a balance sheet, so I'm really intrigued to find out what happened to my money, how it was invested. I'll be looking at every quarter. I'm going to try and get all the data that I can publicly and start digging. I'm doing that as a favor for all Canadians, because none of us knew that there was a Trudeau Foundation that we paid for. I believe we seeded it with $125 million. That's unprecedented. I can't imagine ever in the history of Canada anything like this ever happening. Thank goodness I'm here to do the work on this.
I know that you're also in favor of an oil pipeline project that goes from Fort McMurray to Prince Rupert. That is a project that's backed by someone who raised about $100,000 for your campaign, Kevin. Do you see a conflict of interest there?
No, I actually learned about this pipeline. It's called Eagle Spirit at the fundraiser, not from Francesco Angolini, who held the fundraiser for me. And I immediately started doing some work into it. I'm in favor of any pipeline project that can get through the hurdle, get past the courts, and be built. So I'm extremely interested in learning more about this. I'm certainly going to support it if I can. I want to build pipelines south, east, and west. That'll be very much part of the O'Leary government. I'm going to free up the logjam of $129 billion of infrastructure projects that are tied up in courts right now. We're a can't-do nation under Trudeau, and I've got to fix that. That, by the way, is worth $5 to $8 billion a year in economic activity that we're losing. We've got to solve this. This is the reason the economy is crashing. Nobody has any jobs. We're grinding to a halt. We're at 0.7% GDP growth, and no millennials can get jobs. I blame Trudeau for that. That's why I'm getting rid of him.
One final thing. I know you were at one point, you were born in Quebec, of course, way back. This issue of the French language continues to dog some of your campaign. Some critics, of course, are talking about this. What is your effort nowadays to learn French? I mean, how important is that for you? Because we're getting into the final last 2.5 months of this race.
I have with me my immersion coach, Hélène. She travels with me wherever I go. We try and do 1 to 2 hours a day. You'll hear me speaking some French today in the debate. I'll try and do as best I can. I'm not proficient yet by any means, but I'll get better. And I'm sure over the next 2 years, as I go through this process, I'll become proficient enough in French to actually debate Trudeau in 2 years. But I'm guaranteeing you one thing, he will remain illiterate in the language of jobs. That's for sure.
Kevin O'Leary joining us live from Edmonton. Good to have you on the program, Kevin. We appreciate it.
Take care. Bye-bye.